Hi guys, Mrs. Thorne here. Today I'm going to do a short English lesson. This is our learning question. It says, can I use emotive language to describe? In order to be successful today, are you going to be able to explain what an ed adjective means? Are you going to be able to describe how a character is feeling using ed adjectives? Can you think of two ed sentences to describe how a character is feeling? Could you go on to create a three ed sentence to describe a character's emotions? Let's think. Pause the video and try and think about what the answer to our question might be. I bet you had a good idea of what the answer might be. Let's try and find out whether your prediction was correct or not. So, what are ed adjectives? Adjectives that end in ed generally describe emotions. They tell us how people feel. Like in my examples here: excited, puzzled, scared, horrified, amazed, and troubled. Have you spotted the suffix used at the end of each of my adjectives? I wonder, can you think of some ed adjectives to describe how this character may be feeling? Pause the video and make a list of some ed adjectives. So, how can you use ed adjectives to describe emotions? Let's have a look at some of my sentences here. I was so troubled in that moment, I almost fell to the floor. Troubled is my ed adjective because it's describing the emotion felt by the character. Let's look at my next example. He was so surprised to see the chameleon after all the noise. Surprised is my ed adjective because it is describing the emotion of the character. Let's look at my last example. The chameleon was really tired. Tired is my ed adjective because it is describing how the character is feeling. It's describing the character's emotion. I wonder, could you think of some ed adjectives that would fit these sentences to describe a character's emotions? Could you use some of the listed ones I've placed on the screen, or some of the ones from your brainstorm earlier to help? You did a great job at identifying some ed adjectives. Well done. So we've identified how we use ed adjectives within the middle of our sentences or at the end of them, but how do we use them at the start? Let's find out. So, what is a two ed sentence? A sentence starting with two adjectives ending in ed is a two ed sentence. Just like my example here. Confused and troubled, I didn't know where I was, so I sniffed the ground. Confused and troubled are my two adjectives. They are at the start of my sentence Both of my adjectives are joined using the coordinating conjunction and there is a comma that separates them from the following part of my sentence. I wonder, can you think of some ed adjectives to create a 2ed sentence? Pause the video and use the sentences below to help you create your own 2ed sentences to express someone's emotions. I can imagine you have created some fantastic ed sentences. Well done. Great job. So now you know what a 2ed sentence is. What do you think a 3ed sentence might be? Let's find out. A 3ed sentence is a sentence beginning with 3 adjectives ending in the suffix ed. Let's look at my example. Frightened, exhausted and terrified, I searched my surroundings looking for clues. This is a 3ed sentence because I have started my sentence with 3 adjectives at the beginning, all with the suffix ed. My first adjective is frightened. I've put a comma after my first adjective. My second one is exhausted. Again, it ends in ed. And then I've linked my third ed adjective to my first and second ed adjective using the coordinating conjunction and after my third adjective I've placed a comma before continuing with the rest of my sentence. Okay, your turn guys. Can you think of some ed adjectives to create a 3ed sentence? Use the sentences below to help you. I bet you created some fantastic 3ed sentences. Well done guys. Seems like you've all got your thinking caps on. I wonder, can you identify the ed adjectives below in these sentences? Pause the video, read the sentences and try and identify the ed adjectives and name the sentence type. Let's be reflective and check your answers against the ed adjectives that I identified within the sentences. Great job. I bet you identified all of the ed adjectives just like I did. Your turn now guys. Could you create some emotive sentences to describe how the character is feeling? If you could, I'd love to see some of your work sent into our school email account or Twitter. Well done for today guys.